Well, as you know, the heat is here to stay this week, folks, as we see scorching temperatures that feel like triple digits out there. And again, it's our top story at 5 o'clock. Hello, everybody. Hope you're staying cool. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. While we are not seeing an air advisory just yet, it could be coming later this week. Meteorologist Christina San Juan keeping a close eye on it. Christina, when are you thinking we might see some air quality alerts?
So we actually have one that's already been issued for all day long tomorrow, and that's for in and around the Louisville metro area, and that's an orange air quality alert, meaning that we have elevated ozone pollution. And now, I won't just say if you're in that sensitive group, you should limit time outdoors, but honestly, with how hot it's going to be outside tomorrow, I would say the general public should really be limiting time outdoors, because we are going to crank up the heat even farther than where we've seen so far this week as we head into our Thursday, which is when summer officially begins at 4:51 p.m. But temperatures are going to be sizzling. We're making it into the mid-90s with a high of 96 degrees, making it not feel so bad outside right now, at least relatively speaking, as we are just shy of 90 degrees right now here in Louisville, and then we're at 87 around Carroll County, 83, a little bit cooler down there around Grayson County and Litchfield, but everybody still dealing with a heat index. It certainly feels a lot hotter outside than that air temperature actually is. In fact, it feels like 97 in Mitchell, Indiana, feeling like the lower 90s around Louisville and down to Shepherdsville. So we take you into the next couple of hours, slowly seeing those temperatures drop. However, just like how we woke up this morning, incredibly mild, we're going to do the same thing for our Thursday morning. And in fact, it gets even warmer as we head into later on this week. We're going to be chasing that record heat. I'll tell you just how close we're going to be getting with our air temperatures this year coming up in just about 15 minutes. Doug and Shay.
All right, Christina, thank you. More local news here at 5. In southern Indiana, leaders in Floyd County announced the creation of a new drug interdiction task force today.
It is a multi-million-dollar project that commissioners have agreed to let select offices manage. According to the Indiana Attorney General's office, the Hoosier State is getting more than $450 million from the opioid settlement funds. Floyd County is receiving $7.3 million from that total, and a certain amount must be directed to treating, preventing, or reducing opioid addiction. Our Jose Alonso looks at how New Albany is now putting that money to work.
Settlement money from multiple lawsuits between the government and major pharmaceutical companies are being given to states as grants to improve their communities. Indiana is a recipient of that, and Floyd County is utilizing their portion of the funds for a new task force.
A lot of counties are doing different things with it, but this county chose to put that into treatment and interdiction.
The team consists of the county prosecutor, a judge, and the sheriff's department. They will work together to help connect offenders and their families with resources. Judge Carrie Stiller says about 90% of cases they see in courtrooms are related to drug abuse, and they are seeing a lot of repeat offenders.
What we're trying to do is make sure that these individuals who are affected by drug abuse or substance abuse, and make sure that they have opportunities for treatment at each and every phase as they go through their case, and then well beyond that.
2 ordinances were passed to manage the funds. One is to aid drug abusers and will be granted just under $5 million by 2038.
We don't have systems set up necessarily for all of this, so we're literally inventing the wheel here on some of these programs, and that's why we're looking for creative options.
The other will fund law enforcement operations and is expected to be granted $2 million by 2038 as well.
It allows for an example, overtime. You know, if we have a situation where we need overtime, you know, we have other investigative tools. We'll go into it at a later date once we get into the meat and potatoes of what we will do.
County commissioners voted on the ordinances on Tuesday in hopes of a positive outcome.
Everybody here's been impacted by this. Family, people that we work with. Take even one of those 10 people out of that cycle, and we're going to have a better community. We're going to have a better Floyd County. We're going to have a better world.
A team working on a solution to curb drug sales and prevent others from falling into the abuse cycle. In New Albany, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
The county's Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council will take charge of planning how they will fund and create new rehab services.
They're currently seeking the community's help and input on this. If you're interested in helping the county in the cycle of drug abuse. You can fill out an application for the council. We've got all that information posted for you at WHAS11.com. Let's take a look at Kentucky and the Commonwealth being awarded nearly $900 million in opioid settlement funds. The Opioid Abatement Advisory Commission is administering half of that money. The other half is going to go to local counties and cities. Jefferson County here in Metro Louisville is set to receive more than $57 million.
New today, cracking down on 2 Bardstown Road bars. Neighbors call them problem properties, saying they draw violence to the area.
Cafe 360 and Africanza could have their alcohol licenses revoked if they cannot reach an agreement with Metro Louisville. It comes after deadly shootings at both businesses in just the past year and a concentration of violent crime on the surrounding streets there in Bardstown Road in the Highlands. WHAS 11's Ian Hardwitt and photojournalist Jessica Farley report on the nuisance notice and what comes next.
Nobody wants to have a business that is the centerpiece of violence. Right? That said, we have rules and laws in this community for a reason, and we have to enforce them.
Following concerns about 2 Bardstown Road businesses, Cafe 360 and Africanza, the city is taking action. Each of the businesses had one of these notices posted to their building on Tuesday for a criminal activity nuisance violation. Codes and regulations served the notices, saying that the crime was them selling liquor after 2 in the morning like they previously agreed to. Speaking to us over the phone on his lunch break, Bobby said he's lived on nearby Bonnycastle Road for over 20 years and that violence in the area started after Africanza moved in. Fear is why he won't use his full name and why he's struggling with sleep some nights.
Around 2 to 4 a.m. but you hear loud gunshots, and and I've got down to where I just jump up, hit the side of the bed and roll under the bed and kind of pray.
However, the violence gravitating around the bars isn't why they're being cited as a nuisance. Notices from Louisville Metro's Alcoholic Beverage Control accuse each bar of serving alcohol past 2 a.m. at around 2:20 in the morning on June 9th. Now the businesses and the owners of each building must meet with codes and regulations and find a solution to their issues. Without an agreement, the businesses may be forced to close or lose their right to sell alcohol. In Louisville, Ian Hardwitt, WHAS 11, on your side.
Each business owner and each building owner now have 6 days to request that resolution meeting with codes and regulations.
According to that Metro Council ordinance, the meeting must happen within 20 days of the request, and stakeholders whose interests are directly impacted by the condition of the property may attend.
A man is dead and a woman is injured after police say they were shot while sitting in their car in Jeffersontown. Jeffersontown Police Chief Rick Sanders said it happened around 8 last night at an apartment complex right off of Old 6 Mile Lane. Sanders said a car pulled up on them and opened fire. That man was shot several times. He did die at the scene. The woman was taken to the hospital, and right now the chief says she is expected to survive. If you know anything about this case, you can call police at the number on your screen. It's 502-267-0503. And in Shively, a man has died after police say he was hit by 2 different cars. It happened overnight around 12:45 on Cane Run Road near Miller's Lane. An LMPD spokesperson says that man was walking on Cane Run Road when he was hit by a car, thrown into the other lane, and then hit by a second vehicle. That man did not survive his injuries. Investigators say they do not expect any charges right now.
Well, today, Louisville Metro Police arrested a serial robber who once served 20 years in prison.
51-year-old Tommy Harden is accused of 2 new robberies, both at local businesses, earlier this month. LMPD's robbery unit, with the help of the Mount Sterling Police Department, arrested him this week. They say Harden robbed House of Jellish Nails on Bardstown Road and then Bearno's Pizza on Taylorsville Road. Law enforcement say they found evidence of those robberies in other counties after executing a search warrant. Harden has been charged with first-degree robbery. When we took a closer look at his record, we found in 2003, Harden committed 33 robberies across Metro Louisville. He was later convicted in 2005 and served half of his 40-year sentence before being paroled in 2022.
The former MSD employee who was in prison for a crash that killed an LMPD detective on Christmas Eve back in 2018 is now asking a judge to vacate his conviction. We're talking about Roger Burdett. He was behind the wheel of that MSD tanker truck when it slammed right into Detective Dee Mingadot's cruiser on Christmas Eve in 2018. She was conducting a traffic stop right here on I-65, not far from the 3rd Street exit in the downtown area. Police say Burdett had drugs in his system and was watching a pornographic video on his phone when the crash happened. Now he's asking the judge to throw out his conviction, saying he was denied effective assistance by his lawyers. Burdett is requesting an evidentiary hearing, which is the first step in getting the conviction thrown out. Right now, he's currently serving a 27-year prison sentence.